host week bowl games, and 2 teams play a max of 16 games, basically in the same window we have now. Easy peasy. Just like getting your vehicle serviced at Woody Anderson Ford. Make that appointment today.
Thom Abraham, only on 97.7 The Zone.
With an impressive roster of explosive young superstars and the reigning MVP, the Atlanta Braves are showing the East what they're made of.
1-1 on the way. He connects it. It's a high fly ball to deep right field, way back towards the seats, and this ball is gone!
Your new home of the Atlanta Braves.
Hit high in the air to deep right center field. We are tied!
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food, from delicious starters to 50-style diner food and meat and 3 meals, featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. And you can enjoy $50 worth of delicious Bubby's Diner food for half price with this week's Zone Deal. On sale now online at 977ESPN.com.
All across the nation, we are here for our communities.
We're doing our part to get supplies where it's needed in order to fight COVID-19 together.
Got to do what we got to do, helping the people that did lose their jobs and lost their income, and now they don't have money for their food.
It feels good to be out there to assist our community with what we're dealing with. It's what you sign up for as a soldier.
We will not rest until the mission is complete.
Each one of these soldiers, once they received the call, they understood that all hands were on deck. This goes to the core of what citizen soldiers do.
We are your Army National Guard.
I would like our friends and family to know that your National Guardsmen are always ready and always there.
Always ready, always there. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
It's kicked. Waddle from the 1 to the 5. Cuts left of the 10. Stays left of the 15. Up the middle, 20. He'll cut to the outside, 25, 30. He gets outside the contain. Down the left sideline. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Alabama! 99 yards on the kickoff return by one of America's most impressive kick and punt returners, Jalen Waddle. Touchdown, Alabama! Here's a 3rd and 10 from the 45. Dropping back Abraham. Dropping down Abraham. Covered up by 3 guys, Abraham. And that's the 2nd sack of the day.
Every touchdown from the Crimson Tide Sports Network. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Right now, it's on to the semifinals of the Olympics for the U.S. women's national soccer team. Following their penalty shootout win against the Netherlands today, Team USA goes up against Canada next. No Golden Grand Slam for Novak Djokovic following his loss in the semis in Tokyo today to Alexander Zverev. Djokovic was denied his bid to win all 4 Grand Slam tennis tournaments and Olympic gold in the same year. He needed the Olympics and U.S. Open titles to complete the collection. He will play for the bronze medal. ESPN's Field Yates with some numbers regarding quarterback Aaron Rodgers' reworked deal with the Packers. The reigning NFL MVP's salary cap charge for this season dropped by $10 million to $27 million. His cap charge, though, for 2022, should he still be on Green Bay's roster, he'd currently count as $46 million against the team's salary cap.
Log on today, 97.7ESPN.com.
From the WZDX Spin Point Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Get ready for another incredibly hot afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. A heat advisory will be in effect from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. Temperatures easily climbing into the mid and upper 90s, pushing the triple digits. Heat indices will be anywhere between 107 and 110 degrees. The only opportunity for relief is the chance for an isolated shower through the later part of Friday afternoon, early into Friday evening. Don't get too excited about that. At the end of the day, most of us are going to stay dry. Temperatures only dropping into the lower 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
While other stations keep changing their lineup,
yeah,
we keep plugging away.
Did you lose your mind all of a sudden, or was it a slow, gradual process?
Thank you for making us your number one choice for sports talk in North Alabama. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Who wants coffee? Anybody wants coffee?
Can you get me off the hook? Type C. The tire's tired.
He ain't good looking, but he sure ain't shy. He's a northern bred, southern fed, slick talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land. Nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Testosterone high today. Yeah, Tom's a man, he's got the plan, he's really got it made. What a wife he's got, she's smoking hot, check out the junkyard babe. When everything is said and done, no one can beat his show. He's a high-tech redneck, Tony Soprano. If you love sports without the fluff, he's got the master plan. 'Cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham, yeah.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
And good morning, everyone, and welcome to Football Friday in the Doghouse. I am your host, Thom Abraham, and no matter where we are, well, you know what Football Friday means. It means football music. And, you know, I've been talking to my boy Grizz here for a few minutes, and it occurs to me that I don't even think I mentioned to him about having that football music. I'm talking about right there. There it is right there, baby. Yeah, that's it. That is it. That's some good stuff right there. And today, we have taken the show on the road to Bubby's Diner for a little brunch with the big dog. I mean, this place is really amazing. And by the way, right now you can go to Zone Deals and pick up $50 worth of Bubbies for just $25. And, you know, that deal is going to go pretty quick. I mean, it's not going to be around forever. But get this. You come on down to Bubbies in the next, 2 hours while we're here, and we're going to hook you up. But here's the thing. You've got to come over to our booths, and I say booths because we have the two booths that are immediately to the right of the setup here. The Junkyard Babe is set up in one booth. I am set up in the other. You need to come over and see her, and you got to drop the phrase that pays.
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
That's the phrase that pays, okay? You got to...
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
Now, here's the thing. We've got $25 gift certificates. We have got $10 gift certificates. Brandon and his son Bo have made the trip from Rome, Georgia, and they are here already. All right, so you can do the same by coming on down here and picking up a certificate. Now, he picked up one because what he did was Bo came over, and you know what he did? He said,
how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
And when he did that, he picked up the $25 gift certificate. So you can get that while supplies last. Now, as I said, I don't have a ton of them, but I got enough. So come by, ask her if we have any, and we're going to hook you up. Now, check this out. Yesterday on the show, I spent a lot of time talking about the bacon gravy here at Bubby's. I kept talking about the bacon gravy. There is no such thing as bacon gravy, all right? It's bacon jam. But I was calling it bacon gravy because to me those two words just go together great, and it looks like bacon gravy to me. Well, it's bacon jam is what it is. So Chris came over. I want to call him Bubby. I got to ask him where the Bubby's even comes from. Chris came over, and he says, we were listening yesterday, and we heard you talking about the bacon gravy, and we have decided to turn the bacon jam cheeseburger into the Thom Abraham bacon gravy cheeseburger. So they're going to be making them new menus, and when the new menus come out, it's now the Thom Abraham bacon gravy cheeseburger here at Bubby's. I mean, it is absolutely tremendous. Now, where are we at Bubby's? It's Whitesburg Lane, just north of the South Parkway is how you get here. You go over to railroad tracks, you get off at Whitesburg, off of the South Parkway, you go over to railroad tracks, and it's right there on your left. Now, let me give you the lay of the land of this joint. This has got 50s Diner written all over it. It is so cool in here. Turquoise and red motif, the black and white check floor, the turquoise doors, the red walls. They've got records up on it. They got guitars up on the wall. They've got Marilyn Monroe thing. Now, we also have beautiful flat screen HD TVs as well, which have some Olympic action on there and some other kind of stuff on there. But it's all right here at Bubby's. I mean, you really got to check it out. It's 8412 Whitesburg Lane if you need an actual address. Now, we have plenty of football to get into the show here on Football Friday, but let me give you a little lay of the land on the menu here. The menu is absolutely incredible. Okay, it's Whitesburg Drive. Grizz just keeps, he just keeps correcting me. That's that little. You guys may or may not be hearing that. I don't know if you hear that notification. Grizz is sending me, don't. I got to turn notification sound off then, Grizz. I'll have to turn the notification sound off because you keep hearing that thing. But they've got all kinds of appetizers with fried pickles and fried green tomatoes and onion rings and chili cheese fries. They got all kinds of burgers and dogs. You got the Bubby. The Bubby is the original. The grilled glazed donut with beef, bacon, and cheese. I mean, that's incredible. Pop's Classic. That's got to be Chris's old man. That is a burger with lettuce, tomato, onion, pickle, and mayo. You got the Junior Pop Classic, which is a 4-ounce burger. You can check that out as well. Now, I feel bad for Chris's sister because Kimmy's Bacon Jam Cheeseburger is now officially the Thom Abraham Bacon Gravy Cheeseburger. All right? So, Kimmy, we're going to name something else after you. I mean, this is the way it's going to have to be. But they got all kinds of really, really cool stuff here at Bubby. So you got to come on down and check it out. They got a full breakfast menu. They serve the breakfast menu for another 50 minutes. So until 11 o'clock, you can get the breakfast menu, all kinds of egg dishes, all kinds of really cool stuff, biscuits and gravy. I mean, you can get yourself hooked up. They've got the donut slider, bacon or sausage with cheese. And my mouth is literally watering just going through this menu. I can hardly talk going through this menu. And I'm going to be here for a little while because after the show, immediately after the show, my daughter and her 3 kids are going to show up here. My grandson is 6 years old. It's his birthday. He's 6 years old. And we're going to have we're going to have some cupcakes for him, and we're going to have lunch here and celebrate his 6th birthday. So that's going to be kind of cool as well. Phone lines are open. You can get in 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. It's the good old-fashioned way to communicate with the show. Digital Doghouse is still open. That's our Twitter feed at Thom Abraham Show. On the Facebook, it is Thom Abraham Show. Then there's the text window 732-9TA Show. That's 732-982-7469. The Zone is on Twitter and Twitch and Facebook at 97.7 ESPN and online at 97.7ESPN.com. And don't forget the app. You get that app right now, and then you can find out about deals like our great Zone deal that we have today for Bubby's, which is going fast. It's not going to last forever. I'm telling you right now, it is going fast. So you're going to want to check that out as well. Well, he's going to go over to see the Junkyard Babe, and I got a Grissom Tiger guy that comes over, and he drops a little he's I just want to say, how you doing? And he picks himself, how you doing? And he picks himself up some Bubbies as well. I mean, this is it's really cool, the folks that are coming by. He's got a great SEC hat on, too. It's got the logos of all of the teams on, and he's got a Grissom T-shirt on as well. All right, coming up on the show today, off the top of the show, NFL insider Brent Sobleski will join us from the Bleacher Report. All the camps are open, and we have plenty of news, plus reaction to Aaron Rodgers wanting to simply be involved. That's all he wants to do. He just wants to simply be involved in the personnel that have anything to do with him being able to do his job. Just input. I got to be honest with you. I really don't mind that. I mean, dude has been there 17 years. He knows what he needs, okay? And if you simply involve the guy, if you sit down and say, okay, we're thinking about this guy. What do you think? We're thinking about that guy. What do you think? I think then that he feels invested, and you get the best out of him. I mean, I don't understand what this big, people are calling him a diva and everything else. I don't understand why you wouldn't bring a quarterback that is, I mean, it's not like he's a spring chicken. The guy's 37 years old. He's been on the team for 17 years. You can't bring him in and say, hey, we're thinking about this guy. We want to move this guy. What do you think? I mean, I don't know. It just seems like a no-brainer to me. And then Tyler Martin is back from BamaCentral.com on a number of college football issues. It became official yesterday, of course, when the SEC voted unanimously. I told you it was going to be unanimous, including Texas A&M. The SEC does things unanimously. You know why? Because it just means more. They voted unanimously to invite the Sooners and the Longhorns to the SEC, while the crumbling 12 commissioner, Bob Bowlesley, seems to be set on keeping Texas and Oklahoma in the 12 for 4 more years. So next up is the lawyers. Remember, these guys would owe about $80 million apiece to the 12 if they left early. But ironically, ESPN owes Texas $160 million for the 10 years that is left on the Longhorn Network deal. I mean, Texas has got to be giving up that network. They've already said they're willing to give up the network. So does ESPN just pay the buyouts with the $160 million that they already owe to Texas? I mean, it could happen. And what will be the impact on SEC expansion? What impact will SEC expansion have on a playoff expansion? I mean, to me, that whole playoff expansion deal needs to be rethought now, because by the time it happens, you're going to have 64 teams in 4 conferences. That's where we're going to be. And that changes things in my mind. And I got to get Tyler's thoughts on David Shaw's comments about Nick Saban and Alabama recruiting as well. Don't think Shaw isn't smart like a fox making those comments either. He was planting the seed as to whether or not Saban's comments are tantamount to a recruiting pitch, which would be against the rules. So we'll get into that as well, and we'll get into the high school aspect of NIL, because we told you there would be unintended consequences. I was fearful of this. I've talked about it for years, when our high school players going to start bagging their senior year. And sure enough, the number 1 high school player in the country, Quinn Ewers, the South Lake Carroll quarterback that is committed to Ohio State, he is already saying, you know what, I think I'm going to bag this deal. I'm ready to go and get my NIL money, because Texas does not allow high school kids to get NIL money. Some states do. Alabama does not. All right, over there in that little glass room, playing the Platters That Matter and the Stacks of Wax and answering the phones and keeping us on the air, it's Coach Grizz.
Who in the blue hell are you?
I'm the producer of the show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put the thing together on a stick and polish.
Brilliant!
I've got $100 smoking in my billfold. I know I ought to save it, but it's burning a hole right through my pocket and into my skin. Come Monday morning, I'll be broke again. It's finally Friday, I'm free again. I got my motor running for a wild weekend. It's finally Friday, I'm out of control. Forget the working blues and let the good times roll.
Someone call someone, because there's a cleanup on aisle 3 as a man is down.
It's like taking poison, like rat poison.
It's not St. Patty's Day, so that's a different day entirely.
Hey, Grizz, how you doing, man? How are you today?
Doing just fine, and wishing I was sitting right across from you right now and enjoying every bit of that experience over there at Bubby's for sure.
Yeah, there really isn't much room across from me because all the gear is set up over there. But, sitting across from the Junkyard Babe is Smokey Mike. He made it in down here. He's all covered in sweat and stank and everything else. So, but he's out there. He's working. He's a working man in the morning. He's been probably cutting grass since the sun, came up this morning. You got to get out there early. Did you hear that weather report? Did they say 104-degree heat index?
Something like that. I know it's been like that all week, it seems. That's for sure. I haven't even been able to cut my grass because I get home in the afternoon and I just don't want to do it. It's just either too muggy or just way too hot.
No. It's bad. I mean, right now it is. It's going to be bad today. It wasn't this bad earlier in the week, but I know that it's because the
it seems like it's been this bad.
Well, the air temperature is going to be 97 today. So, I mean, it's been like 92, 93, but now they're talking about 97 degrees. So, it's just absolutely crazy. Now, we are just a few hours away from the trade deadline in baseball, so we're going to keep everybody updated on those moves the best we can. The Yankees are going all in on the Italians, right? They got Joey Gallo and Anthony Rizzo. Gallo is 27. Rizzo is 31. Both will be free agents after the season. And get this, Grizz, the Rangers and the Cubs are paying the entire balance of their contracts for the rest of the season. For those of you that are out there saying, oh, see, this is the New York Yankees. They got all the money, and they're going ahead and grabbing these guys. Let me tell you something. This is the kind of trades that they worked out. They traded with the Rangers and the Cubs for Gallo and Rizzo. They gave up prospects and told the Cubs and the Rangers, you're paying their contract. And the Rangers and the Cubs agreed to pay the contract. This is costing the Yankees nothing but prospects. That's all it is costing them. So, these are two lefties that are going to be very popular in New York. Rizzo actually played for the Italian team, Grizz, in 2013. I don't know if you remember this. He played for the Italians in the Baseball Classic because his family is from Sicily. That was one of those deals. Like if you had ever eaten pizza in your life, you could play on the Italian team.
I actually used to like enjoy the Italian team. Wasn't Napoli on the team back in the day? And then you had Rizzo, of course. I remember Rizzo being on that team.
Played on that team.
Yeah, Mike Piazza. I remember like watching like back in the early 2000s some of that Italian baseball and just being like, what? Even the Netherlands, I was just like so intrigued by that, and I wish that there were more teams like that and I'd be able to see more players like that.
The Netherlands team is a lot of fun. I mean, it was a lot of fun. The Netherlands team back in the day. Text window is active already. The chubby ninja got in. It's hotter than a crack spoon at Hunter Biden's house.
Wow.
Damn.
Jab.
Wow. I can't believe you went there, chubby
Low
ninja.
blow.
Wow. I cannot believe that he went there on that deal. Man, that's rough. So the Dodgers are moving in on Max Scherzer and Trey Turner from the Nats, which is big for the future for the Braves, since the Nats are now in a full rebuild mode. I mean, they are done for years. They're in a full rebuild. But it's devastating for the rest of the National League right now as far as the Dodgers go, right? I mean, Grizz, if they get Max Scherzer and Trey Turner, I mean, forget about it. How can you compete?
I mean, you really can't. I mean, it's ridiculous. It seems like I've said it before. I mean, they're the Yankees of the West now. Like as much as we don't want to say it, or I don't want to say it because I hate saying that word, Yankees, but they're literally the Yankees of the West right now. I mean, they've got David Price, Trevor Bauer. Even though he's out, they still can get all of this talent, within their. It's just like, where does the money come from? It's like every year that the Eagles get something in the NFL. I'm like, where do they get this money from? How do they make these deals? How are they able to afford these guys?
Well, I just told you the Yankees aren't even paying those guys.
I understand that. So
don't disparage the Yankees. They got these guys. They were smart. I mean, now they gave up a lot in terms of prospects.
Right.
But still, you build a deep minor league system, and then you're able to use that minor league system to get established stars. Now, who knows whether or not they'll be able to sign these guys and keep these guys and so on. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. I'll tell you one that kind of slipped under the radar a little bit that could be a problem in the American League. Kyle Schwarber to the Red Sox. That's a big move for Boston. Assuming Schwarber is going to be ready to play pretty soon. He'd already had 28 or 25 home runs, I think, this season for the Nats. But if that guy is ready to go soon, Kyle Schwarber to the Red Sox is a pretty big move.
Yeah, I like the move. I honestly do. I think he's going to be an added bat for sure. And I think that when you kind of look at what the Cubs are doing, you definitely can see that they're just getting rid of everybody. They're just looking for the future. And it's crazy to think that with the Cubs, just so far removed from winning a World Series title, which, I mean, you didn't expect this to kind of implode like this.
All right, so we'll also talk a little bit about the NBA draft as well. Josh Primo to the Spurs at 12, the youngest player in the NBA now. Herb Jones to the Pelicans in the second round. JT Thor from Auburn to the Hornets. Sharif Cooper to the Hawks.
Yes.
I really like that move. I mean, the Hawks right now I think are going to be my second favorite team. I think the Hawks with Sharif Cooper and Trae Young, you got to love that move.
Oh, without a doubt. I think it's another it's a backup obviously to Trae, so that means that they're going to probably not keep some guys. I think with the Jalen Johnson draft, I think that honestly they're going to get rid. I want to say that they're going to do some things, and I know that they're not going to be able to keep certain free agents and everything like John Collins. I just don't think they're going to keep him by drafting Jalen Johnson, who is a power forward as well. I think they're going to go a little younger. I mean, they have a really young team now with Johnson and Sharif coming in. So I think it's something that you're going to have to watch here pretty soon what the Hawks do, because they're going to probably move some guys around just so they can pay some of their other guys.
Yeah, I think that is exactly.
I think it's bye-bye John Collins for the Hawks for sure. I mean, after all of that, I don't think they keep him after this.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see how that whole thing shakes out. All right, I'm going to try something, Grizz.
Yeah.
Before we go to break here, I want to give people a little bit of a lay of the land here. All right, so check this out now. This is I'm going to be a little bit. I'm trying to be smooth now.
Oh no.
This is like a drone scene.
Moving.
I'm
moving with the camera.
There's the back of the junkyard. There's the back of the junkyard.
Hey, Alan.
There, Alan.
Hey, Alan.
Chad is saying hello to you. Wave to thing.
Hey,
there
Mike.
you go. And there's Mike, all sweaty Mike. There's Brandon and Bo over there. You see them? Can you see them?
What's up, guys?
You see them? See those guys there? And I want for the viewers, I want you to see the place. This is the place here. This is really cool, man. All right, so now you can kind of see. Are you getting a good view? Are you getting a good overview of the place?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Got some work going on.
Are you wishing that you were here?
Without a doubt. Are you kidding me? It's like right. I mean, it's literally down the street from my house.
They got the ice cream going on. They got the Marilyn Monroe over there on the wall.
Oh, it looks great.
They got a nice lady with tie-dye T-shirt on. They just finished up their meal there. I'm telling you, man.
Looks packed for breakfast, that's for sure.
It is. They were packed for breakfast, and look, I mean, what time is it? 10 o'clock,
10:30
in the morning,
yeah.
and it's still jammed. All right, we got a break in here. When we come back, I'll get this camera resituated. I think I got it right, and we'll talk. To Brent Sobleski. Talk some NFL. All the camps are open. A lot of NFL news. We'll get into that as well. It's all coming up right here on the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's Action Update. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
Odds updated Thursday for the MVP of the Major League Baseball season in 2021. Shohei Ohtani, the odds-on favorite at minus 350. Vladimir Guerrero at plus 250. Then a large drop-off to Xander Bogaerts at plus 2,800. Aaron Judge and Jose Ramirez at plus 4,000. UFC Fight Night tomorrow on the main card. The middleweight bout between Uriah Hall and Sean Strickland. Strickland the favorite, minus 215. Hall at plus 170. Also on the main card, the bantamweight fight between Kyung Ho Kang at minus 135 and Ronnie Yaya at plus 115. Braves at home against the Brewers this weekend. Atlanta underdogs at home in game 1, plus 112 on the money line. The Brewers minus 122. The over-under 8.5.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Ann Adams. Ann, I understand you have some exciting news.
Yes, Wes, I do. Berkshire Hathaway Home Services was just recognized in the 30th annual Harris Poll Equitrend as the Real Estate Agency Brand of the Year and the most trusted real estate brand.
That is awesome news, Ann. You know, great companies in Huntsville, Alabama, winning awards is what we want. Is it a great time to list your home?
Yes, it is. The inventory is low and the market is heating up.
And I understand you're also looking for agents.
I am. We are so busy, Wes, we need agents to keep up with the demand.
Ann Adams and Rise Real Estate has been doing business in North Alabama for the last 35 years. If you want to do business with someone you can trust, she has been writing contracts since she was 9 years old. Call Ann today at 256-337-2625. This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
You know that there are some words that have really messed up our world. The devil, way back in Genesis, said, "Has God really said?" Unfortunately, we often listen to those words of the devil. We question God's word. We often doubt God's goodness, and we make a mess for ourselves and so many others. Hey, let's honor the word of God for what it is. It is God's word. Let's follow it and be blessed by it. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food, from delicious starters to 50-style diner food and meat-and-three meals, featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. And you can enjoy $50 worth of delicious Bubby's Diner food for half price with this week's Zone Deal. On sale now online at 977ESPN.com.
From the WZDX Bend Point Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Get ready for another incredibly hot afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. A heat advisory will be in effect from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. Temperatures easily climbing into the mid and upper 90s, pushing the triple digits. Heat indices will be anywhere between 107 and 110 degrees. The only opportunity for relief is the chance for an isolated shower through the later part of Friday afternoon, early into Friday evening. Don't get too excited about that. At the end of the day, most of us are going to stay dry. Temperatures only dropping into the lower 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Bring that playoff intensity every day to our shows.
Bring it on, Chomp. Let's go.
Okay, maybe just for Drew DeArmond.
Ding, me.
Listen for Talking Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew. Weekday mornings starting at 7 on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Bubby's Diner. Bubby taking care of us here. You can come on by. You got to say the phrase that pays, and we will hook you up with a $25 gift certificate while they last. We still have a decent number, so you come on by. But if you need to know the phrase that pays, it's, wait a minute. Let me get it to you here, just so you understand.
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
Now, we will accept the Joey from Friends, how you doing as well. So if you want to go with the how you doing, we'll accept that one. All right, you don't have to go with the how you doing. We will accept the Joey from Friends, how you doing. But you got to come over and see the beautiful Junkyard Babe. She is set up at a booth right next to where I am set up here at Bubby's Diner. And I want to see, I'm not going to eat it because I don't know, but I want to see the grilled glazed donut burger with beef, bacon, and cheese. I just want to see the Bubby at some point in time. All right, joining us now, a guy who would crush the Bubby, be all over that glazed donut burger. Brent Sobleski, NFL insider for the Bleacher Report, is on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Sobo, welcome back. How are you?
How you doing, Tom?
How you doing? Let me tell you something. Bake a cheeseburger on a glazed donut, you'd be all over that, wouldn't you? One time?
Actually, no, because I gave up sugar about a year ago. I mean, I have my few beers here and there. That's my lone exception. But candy, donuts, stuff like that, I've actually veered away from them. So this fat guy is not crushing things like he used to.
I'm a type 2 diabetic. So if I have it, I probably kill over right here in the restaurant. You know what I mean? So I got to be real careful. I don't want to. But get this, they named a burger after me. It's a bacon gravy burger. It's actually bacon jam, which I never knew existed until I had it here about a month ago. And now it is the Thom Abraham bacon gravy cheeseburger. So if you ever are in North Alabama, we got to get you in for a Thom Abraham bacon gravy cheeseburger.
Well, I now see that you've reached the pinnacle. It's all downhill from here, sir. And
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're just going to big time me from now on.
Listen, no, wait a minute. You want to talk about the pinnacle? I don't fanboy over much. You know what I mean? That's just not the way I roll. I've met a lot of athletes and players, and I've been around sports my whole life. I don't get too excited about stuff. But I got to tell you, got to follow yesterday. Bernie Kosar followed me on Twitter. Oh, I got a follow from Bernie on Twitter, and I fanboyed a little bit. I DM'd him. He probably unfollowed me now. But I dropped a DM on him. He might be on the show in the next week or two. Who knows? We'll see. But getting a follow from Bernie is kind of big.
Actually.
I'm saying. I mean, getting a follow from Bernie is kind of a thing. I mean, you and him are probably boys, but for me, it's a big deal.
No, in my case, it wasn't Bernie. See, let me clarify real quick. I had one of those few geek out moments, like yourself. Not much really gets to me. We've been around this business long enough, talked to a lot of these guys. But you're still a fan of heart in certain ways. I mean, no one gets into this business because they don't like sports and they don't like watching these athletes do what they do. And you know me, Tom, I am a professional wrestling fan. I am a mark. I am someone that truly enjoys that business. When I got a follow from Cody Rhodes, that made me pretty excited.
I got a follow from Sergeant Slaughter. He was on the show. He was a lot of fun. So he's in my follower group, Sergeant Slaughter. And, of course, my time in Nashville, I spent a lot of time with a lot of the wrestlers. They used to come through. Cactus Jack and all of his personalities came in studio with me. And I used to have actually became friends with Jake the Snake, and he would actually come out to a few remotes. He came out and hooked up with us at remotes and things like that. And Jeff Jarrett smashed a guitar over my head, had that experience as well. By the way, they're balsa. I just wanted to let you know they're not real guitars. They're balsa. All right? It did not hurt at all. I didn't even feel it, just so you know.
Well, maybe you want to get the next step, like they had in AEW this week, where Chris Jericho is going through pane glass windows and light tubes over his head. Now that's the next step.
That would be something. And I did have The Rock drop a Know Your Role jabroni on me, but that was all the way back in 1999. That was when he was first emerging. And he's got like 16 movies out again, right? I mean, I'm sitting there watching the Olympics last night with my wife, and there was like The Rock is in this movie, The Jungle Cruise, and then The Rock is in some other movie. I mean, that guy, that is one of the all-time stories, what this guy has done with his career from being a kind of a middle of the road player for the University of Miami Hurricanes to becoming, The Rock and Dwayne Johnson, the actor. It is really a heck of a story.
Yeah, former CFL player for a very short amount of time as well. It is amazing. It is to see the growth and opportunity that he's created for himself. And it's not just The Rock. I mean, a lot of people overlook the fact that Dave Bautista is becoming a very big part of the Hollywood scene and has for a few years. He's an excellent actor. This isn't the days of like 1989, I believe it was, with no holds barred against Hulk Hogan and Tiny Lister. These guys can legitimately carry movies and do very well in that regard. And I think it's awesome because I grew up in the 80s, so a guy like The Rock, for me, harkens back to Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, that marquee action star that just there's not many left. And in fact, in most movies, you get a lot of these guys recycled instead of really building those new stars. And now he's the guy, and he's the one that can do those type of films.
So you say you grew up in the 80s. Did you actually see Bernie play much? I mean, do you remember Bernie playing? Or because, I grew up in the 60s, but I don't remember Jim Brown. I was, 5 years old when he retired. But, I was obviously big into the whole Bernie Kosar era Browns. We used to make the trip over there all the time. But did you remember seeing him play?
I do. Now, I was young, and my all-time favorite Browns player is Kevin Mack, just because I love the way he ran. And plus, he had those offensive lineman pads trucking people. But I do remember, one of my very first memories, going back to as a fan, is I remember putting a sign on the front of my house that said, "Go Browns, see you in New Orleans." That was the year that they were supposed to go. And what happened? The drive.
Yeah. And speaking of the drive and the fumble, I actually had the opportunity to become friends with Ernest Biner, and that was a fanboy moment for me. When he was a coach with the Titans, he was the running backs coach with the Titans. I used to do the show from camp, and we became friendly, and then I invited him to the NFL Alumni Golf Tournament, and he signed one of his jerseys for me and things like that, and we became buddies. But, Ernest Biner, you want to talk about a great guy. Ernest Biner's a fantastic guy. Probably doesn't get enough credit for being the great player that he turned out to be.
It's actually surprising. I've gotten to speak with Ernest a couple times as well. He's absolutely dead on when you talk about the type of person he is. Just absolutely wonderful, considering what he's known for. It's such a stark contrast between the person and what everyone remembers him for, mainly from his playing days. But at the same time, what I'm surprised about is that fact he's not in the NFL at the moment. That he hasn't been a running backs coach for a few years. He's very good at his job in that regard. So that's someone I would look at if I was a coach hiring around the league, that I would bring in because of his experience and what he's done, not just as a player, but as a coach as well.
I think part of the deal was with the Titans was he's an East Carolina guy, and that was back when Chris Johnson was there. And I think he was there to kind of teach Chris Johnson how to be a pro. And I think that kindred spirits, with them both being, East Carolina guys, I think that might have had a lot to do with that as well. Brent Sobleski with us from the Bleacher Report. Carson Wentz seems very happy in Indianapolis, and things seem to be going really well in the first few practices of camp there. And I wonder if we're sleeping a little bit on what kind of a resurgence Carson Wentz could have in his career with the Colts and being with Frank Reich, because this could be, problematic, obviously, for Titans fans if Wentz ends up being, what he was on his way to being when he signed that big deal.
Well, way to go, Tom. Way to jinx it, because he's out of practice today with a foot injury. So we don't know the severity of the injury, but it's probably just rest at this juncture in training camp, or at least we hope so. I'm sure we'll hear later today on what the team's thoughts were, giving him some time off. But with that said, I actually wrote this offseason that I believe he landed in the perfect situation to revitalize his career, because when you consider, one, Frank Reich coached him in Philadelphia. 2, Mike Groh was his offensive coordinator in Philadelphia. 3, Press Taylor, who was his recent quarterbacks coach, is now in Indianapolis as well. That's a soft landing spot for Carson Wentz. Guys that know him, and not just know him as the player on tape, but know him as the person and how to handle him properly, which was something that came to a head in Philadelphia with Doug Peterson. And so knowing where his overall upside is, and we saw Carson Wentz play at a near MVP level. I'm not saying he's going to quite reach that in Indianapolis, but if he can be somewhat of the quarterback we saw prior to 2020, which I think is very possible considering arguably the best offensive line of football, or one of them, with the Colts, you're going to have a strong running game that goes 4 deep in the backfield. You have weapons, Pittman, you have T.Y. Hilton, you have Doyle, you have Mo Alley Cox, and so on and so forth. The Colts are very much a sleeper team in this AFC playoff picture, because I believe they may not dethrone the Titans, but they're a team that can certainly play as well as the other top teams in the conference.
Brent Sobleski with us. Of course, Aaron Rodgers showed up on time for camp and had a stunningly frank press conference. I thought I appreciate that from him. I usually side quite a bit with management on issues of players wanting to be involved and so on in personnel decisions. But I got to be honest with you, I didn't find anything that he said offensive in any way, shape, or form. And if I had a guy that was a 17-year veteran, a 37-year-old guy that's as old as some of the coaches on the staff, I would kind of talk to him. I mean, why wouldn't you want to have him in? Hey, listen, we're thinking about this guy. We're thinking about that guy. What do you think about, should we get rid of this guy? Can he be any better? He said, I just want to be involved in conversations that affect my ability to do my job. He also wanted to say the fact that I haven't been used in those discussions is something I wanted to change moving forward. I felt based on my years, the way I can still play, that it should be a natural part of these conversations. I got to be honest with you. I don't find a real problem with that. I don't know why I wouldn't talk to that guy if I was bringing in people or getting rid of people.
Well, I'm not sure if anyone's done it yet, but there needs to be someone that superimposes Aaron Rodgers And that meme you see everywhere with the guy sitting behind a table drinking coffee that at the bottom of the sign reads, "Prove me wrong," because he was right on everything he said.
Yeah.
Absolutely 100%. And when you look at how other organizations around the league operate, and let's use Tom Brady as the best example because we saw the two of them together at the match. Obviously, they're good friends. Tom was speaking for Aaron in a certain situations, whether indirectly or directly. And Tom is very much a big part of what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are doing in their decision-making process. Now, this is a discussion we've had before, but I'll reiterate. When it comes to the quarterback position, nothing is more influential, nothing is more high-profile in all of sports. They should have a say. Does that mean they're making the decisions? Absolutely not. And even Rodgers stated publicly, I just want to be part of the conversation. And that's why this became a matter of principle and not necessarily money. Look, we had the reports that the Green Bay was willing to make him the highest-paid player in the NFL, at least on a short-term basis. He turned it down because it was principle. He's a different cat. He's very intelligent. He knows what's going on and where he believes he's been wronged. And I don't think he's incorrect in anything he stated. To me, the Packers have bungled this all the way around, and yet the irony is this, Tom. They got what they wanted. They got Aaron Rodgers back for one more season, and then they'll move on from him next offseason, which was likely the plan anyway.
Well, if he plays great and he's involved in the decision-making process, then I wonder whether or not, they still don't have to move on from him next year. They may want to move on from him, and if Jordan Love is ready to go, I think that would be the natural progression. There's no way he can play like he played last year, you wouldn't think. But if they do play very well, the other part of getting players involved, a quarterback that is a veteran like that, don't you think that if he is involved in some way, shape, or form in some of the having input on some of the personnel on his side of the ball, the guys that he plays with, doesn't that make him even more invested? Doesn't that make him want to play, want to prove that, listen, this was the right guy that I wanted to get in here, or I did not want to let this guy go, or, it would seem to be that it gets the player that much more invested in the team and make them be that much more motivated to play great.
Well, it really depends on the individual, right? Because some guys, when they get that chip on their shoulder, it becomes a boulder, and it pushes them even further and farther than what they ever expected from their own expectations. Others, they want to be insular. They want to have those people around them that make them what they feel is the best. I think with Rodgers, it's very simple. He is a guy that knows his value. He outright stated it. I mean, what is the most true thing we've ever heard at a press conference is when he stated, people don't come to Green Bay for a vacation spot. They come to play here with me. And he's 100% correct. And before him, it was Brett Favre. And, we know the story about Reggie White and how his signing was such a huge deal for that community. But now it's these quarterbacks. And what he's doing moving forward is understanding what he can contribute to the entire organization, not just on field. And it really comes down to the Packers to take advantage of that. If they don't, that's on them. If they do, they can still keep their plan in place. Because the one thing I will disagree with you, Tom, is this. They have to play Jordan Love next year. And the reason why is this. 2022 will be season 3 on his rookie deal. What happens after season 3 of the rookie deal? They have to pick up his 5th-year option. So they need to know whether he can play and be the guy. And so as such, then you move on from Rodgers, try to maximize value, and you have your succession plan in place.
Mike Florio wrote this morning that if Jordan Love was ready to go, Favre would have been gone. If they felt like that he was ready to go now, Favre would have been gone now. Would you agree with that?
No, simply because you're talking about a league MVP. You're trying to maximize value. Right now is not the time to trade Aaron Rodgers. You're not going to get what you can potentially get next offseason on the market. Furthermore, the reports coming out of Green Bay from OTAs is that Love looks really good and that he's picked up the offense very well and he's really progressed. So, look, if they had a great deal on the table for Aaron Rodgers, maybe something got done, but that's not the case. And so now you wait until next offseason. Hopefully he plays near to the same level you saw a year ago, and then you can fully cash in with a war chest of assets from some team that desperately wants a Hall of Fame quarterback to lead their franchise for the next 2 or 3 years.
All right, finally, Are you wearing a wristband to identify whether or not you've been vaccinated or not? Because, we need to know that kind of stuff. You can't be mingling with other media members and them not know whether or not you're a vaccinated guy or not. I mean, come on.
Well, I'm wearing 5 wristbands, but I will say publicly I am vaccinated, so it doesn't bother
so
me.
I
understand it's a personal choice, but it's not a HIPAA thing, so please stop using that as an excuse.
Is this going to be a problem? I mean, is this? I like what the Browns said. What J.C. Treader said. We're not going to do it because we don't want to divide the team. I also understand that they're one of the teams that might be in that 80 to 90% range. That they're actually one of the teams that I think there's 14 teams over 85%. But is this something that could be an issue in locker rooms and be an issue between the players and the league?
It's only an issue until there's an outbreak. And I'm just being blatantly honest, because once you start missing games and you start affecting guys' livelihood, then there becomes an issue. And some are very public about it, some aren't. But at the same time, there's a lot of players out there that know that they are testing the limits of what they're going to be capable of doing this year. And that's difficult for a lot of people. I agree. It's a personal choice. I'm not trying to slam anyone otherwise. But at the same time, if you want to be a good teammate, if you really want to put everyone in front of you, then you should probably get to a point where you get vaccinated, because it just makes your life more difficult. With the NFL, what they're saying is this: you can make whatever choice you want, but we're going to make it as hard on you as possible because we want you to get vaccinated. Now, they can't say that publicly, obviously, but that's exactly what they're doing.
And also, you get the Cole Beasley situation. You can't cut that guy now. I mean, when that guy says that, he comes out and he says, everything that he's done. They cut him. They're looking at a lawsuit right in the face. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how personnel decisions are made when it comes down to cuts this summer, because how is it? Are you cutting a guy because he doesn't want to get vaccinated and you don't want him be a problem? If he's a marginal player, if it's close, being not vaccinated, does that cost you a spot on the team? I mean, it's going to be really dicey, I think, this summer.
Well, we already know the answer to that, Tom. I mean, let's be honest. But at the same time, no one can prove that. And so when you move forward, if you are one of those fringe guys, you got to do what's in best interest for yourself individually. And you're making a very difficult decision. And if it's against your principles, I fully understand that. But at the same time, if you want to realize your dream, then maybe you need to consider the alternative.
Yeah. Listen, again, I don't try to force the decision on others. I've still got a couple of my kids that aren't vaccinated that are, in their 20s and 30s, and I encourage them to, and I just send them articles and information and so on. But even with my own family, I try not to, quote unquote, push it on them. All you can do is share information. But to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I think the data is in, and it would seem to make sense to get vaccinated. And I know everybody at the radio station is, so I feel comfortable about that. Brent Sobleski has been our guest. Soba, I appreciate you so much. Great job, as always.
No, thank you for having me. Talk next week, Tom.
All right, we will. Thank you. All right, we'll get a break in here. We'll come back. A final segment, hour number 1. We are at Bubby's Diner. Now, remember, if you come on by and you see the Junkyard Babe, she is in the booth next to me. And if you come on by and you say the phrase that pays, you will pick up a $25 gift certificate here. I think we've got 3 of those left, and then we've got a bunch of $10 gift certificates as well, which will hook you up as well. What is the phrase that pays?
How you doing? How you doing?
That's all. Just any one of those will work, all right? And you will get yourself a gift certificate. Don't forget, you can also make the purchase. If you can't get down here, for $25, you get $50 worth of Bubbies at Zone Deals right now. So go to Zone Deals and make that purchase as well. God, this place is so cool. I could just hang here. Very, very cool. All right, we'll get a break. We'll come back with more right after this. It's the Thom Abraham Show. Bubby's Diner, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food from delicious starters to 50-style diner food and meat-and-free meals, featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. And you can enjoy $50 worth of delicious Bubby's Diner food for half price with this week's Zone Deal. On sale now online at 977ESPN.com.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner of University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Madison Academy football. And a quick shout out to my son, Avery Seaton, number 19. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including our all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and the sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com to view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in the Kia. Go Mustangs!
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food from delicious starters to 50-style diner food and meat-and-free meals, featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open Monday through Saturday for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. Drive-in, drive-through, carry-out, or curbside pickup with delivery coming soon through Grub South. Bubby's Diner, home of the Donut Burger.
Guys, when we were 20, we never had to worry about spontaneity. And now that we've gotten older, spontaneity has been replaced with pills and injections. We're just trying to keep that intimacy, but it's taken away from spontaneity. At Advanced Life Clinic, we now offer GainsWave, which uses sound waves to non-invasively treat this issue with no need for pills or injections. Just give us a call, 256-888-9367, or check us out online, advancedlifeclinic.com.
From the WZDX Spin Point Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Get ready for another incredibly hot afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. A heat advisory will be in effect from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. Temperatures easily climbing into the mid and upper 90s, pushing the triple digits. Heat indices will be anywhere between 107 and 110 degrees. The only opportunity for relief is the chance for an isolated shower through the later part of Friday afternoon, early into Friday evening. Don't get too excited about that. At the end of the day, most of us are going to stay dry. Temperatures only dropping into the lower 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The forecast calls for football with a strong wind blowing in from training camp.
Football was priority. It's a long football season. It's called tackle football.
A heavy rain of hitting coupled with an afternoon film session. Listen to all the coverage on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Crawdad is here. I didn't even recognize him. Crawdaddy came by. I didn't even recognize that guy. I should have. He's got the Crawdaddy. You'd think I would recognize him, Grizz. He's got the Crawdaddy T-shirt on, for God's sakes, with the big Nick's Restaurante on the back of it.
I mean, come on now.
You think I would notice?
Everybody knows Crawdad.
Everybody knows Crawdad. I mean, I didn't even recognize him. He came over, he gave me a "How you doing?" and I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't even recognize the guy. Brandon had a good question earlier. I don't know if you found out anything about it. He was asking about Oklahoma wrestling. You know, wrestling's huge at Oklahoma, and there's a lot of angst between Oklahoma and the Big 12. And we don't even know if the Big 12 is going to be a thing in the future. Are you seeing anything out there in the interwebs as to what might happen with Oklahoma wrestling?
Not really. To be honest with you, I mean, they've kind of fallen in the last, I would say, maybe over this last decade. They haven't. Oklahoma itself hasn't been very good. Oklahoma State's beaten them probably 15. I mean, they've. Oklahoma State is the Oklahoma breadwinner when it comes to wrestling in that state. So Oklahoma, I would think if Oklahoma did come over to the SEC, it would be just the same as Missouri. Missouri was the same way. They stayed in the Big 12. So they're never going to.
What I'm saying is, what if there isn't a Big 12? And I think that there's more angst about this now than there was before. That's why I'm saying I don't know if this is going to be like when A&M and Missouri left.
Yeah,
it was like you could deal with it, but this is a bigger deal, I think.
But I just don't see wrestling in general. Like if we ever get to the point of seeing wrestling in general, like being like a actual sport in the SEC, I don't see it happen. It's going to continue to be club for sure.
Yeah, well, it won't be. But I'm wondering, can they be? Maybe they'll compete as an independent or something.
Oh, they probably would more than likely, or they. To be honest with you, they might go to the Big Ten. I would think that they would like a lot of the good. If like let's say Oklahoma State ever like went to the SEC or something like that. Right. Or if they ended up going to the Big Ten or the Pac-12, they didn't just end up just going and wrestling there probably at the end of the day.
By the way, hand-dipped milkshakes, hand-dipped malt, root beer float, peanut butter pie. These are all the desserts that are available here at Bubby's as well. It's incredible. All right, we're going to break in. When we come back, Tyler Martin joins us from Bama Central. We're talking college football with him next. Right here in the Thom Abraham Show, live from Bubby's Diner on Whitesburg Lane. Drive? Everybody in the restaurant just yelled drive at me. I said live. I think it's a lane in the promo. We'll be back with more after this. 97.7 ESPN.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Drinking coffee straight from the pot. Power move. Wearing a bathrobe to work. Power move. Switching to super fast, extra reliable internet from WOW. Power move. Switch and save with WOW Internet for just $19.99 a month. It's switching season, so make a move with our best deal of the year. Get the speed you need starting with Internet 100 for just $19.99 a month. Plus, ask how to get $200 on us. Sign up at wowway.com today. Wow. Limited to new customers with autopay and paperless billing. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
By now, we all know about the opioid crisis in America, but did you know there is another answer to pain management? CBD oil. And not all CBD oil is the same. The CBD formula provided by Physician's Choice is safe, legal, and most of all, effective. And we have a special offer. Visit PCCBD.com today, and at checkout, use the coupon code BAMA for 20% off your entire purchase. That's PCCBD.com, coupon code BAMA, and get the relief you deserve now. By now, we all know about the opioid crisis in America, but did you know there is another answer to pain management? CBD oil. And not all CBD oil is the same. The CBD formula provided by Physician's Choice is safe, legal, and most of all, effective. And we have a special offer. Visit PCCBD.com today, and at checkout, use the coupon code BAMA for 20% off your entire purchase. That's PCCBD.com, coupon code BAMA, and get the relief you deserve now.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I was sensitive to lights and sounds, so I built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. Sometimes I did the same things over and over, until one day I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Right now, it's on to the semifinals of the Olympics for the U.S. women's national soccer team. Following their penalty shootout win against the Netherlands today, Team USA goes up against Canada next. No golden Grand Slam for Novak Djokovic following his loss in the semis in Tokyo today to Alexander Zverev. Djokovic was denied his bid to win all 4 Grand Slam tennis tournaments and Olympic gold in the same year. He needed the Olympics and U.S. Open titles to complete the collection. He will play for the bronze medal. ESPN's Field Yates with some numbers regarding quarterback Aaron Rodgers' reworked deal with the Packers. The reigning NFL MVP's salary cap charge for this season dropped by $10 million to $27 million. His cap charge, though, for 2022, should he still be on Green Bay's roster, he'd currently count as $46 million against the team's salary cap.
$256-576-4977.
Hold it!
That's 256-576-4977.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live, here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby.
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show, live on location, Bubby's Diner, Whitesburg Drive. Okay, they're gonna take the Thom Abraham bacon gravy cheeseburger and change the name of it again because I said Whitesburg Lane. I think if I say that again, I'm going to be in big trouble. So it's Whitesburg Drive. It's Whitesburg. Do we even say Drive or Lane? We just said Whitesburg. It's Whitesburg off of the South Memorial Parkway. Or is it South Memorial Parkway? I had one guy sent me corrected me. He sent me a text at the text window that said, if you're saying the just Parkway, you say the Parkway. But if you say South Memorial Parkway, you don't say the South Memorial Parkway. I mean, really? Really? Is that where we're at? You can't say the South Memorial Parkway? You can only say South Memorial Parkway or the Parkway. Take the South Memorial Parkway to Whitesburg, get off, make a left, go over the railroad tracks, keep an eye out on your left, and you will see, Bubby's Diner. And there's no soccer shop anywhere around here, Grizz. I just want you to know that.
That green building right across to your left.
Not a soccer place anymore. It would have been convenient if it was. I don't think my grandson is listening to the show. He's 6. They're coming by a little bit later on.
That's awesome.
And we're gonna. It's his birthday, and he is playing soccer now.
All right.
So, yeah. So we got him, the Junkyard Babe and I got him a pair of cleats, soccer cleats, and shin guards.
Yes.
Because, soccer's a really, really good sport for little kids and girls to play. So we got him a pair of shin guards and cleats, and we'll be giving him that when he comes here.
Well, I'm sure he's going to enjoy it.
Yeah. All you got to do is come by, see the Junkyard Babe, say the phrase that pays, and you get yourself a $25 gift certificate here to Bubby's. All right. You can also go online at Zone Deals and buy a $50 worth of Bubby's for $25. But we've got them here if you say the phrase that pays, and you got to know what the phrase that pays is. All right. So let me just
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
That's the phrase that pays. Okay. So if you say that and you hear it, then you can come in and pick up your gift certificate. All right. Joining us. How you doing? Yeah, you can go with the Joey. You can go with the Joey from Friends One. Yeah, that one works as well. She'll take care of you. Join us now on Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, a guy that does a tremendous job for BamaCentral.com. Everything you want to know about Alabama. It's Tyler Martin, and he joins us now. Tyler, welcome back to the show. How are you, man?
What's up, Tom? Glad to be back on here, man. It was great to see you last week for SEC Media Days in person finally. we've been talking for almost 2 years now, and it's like we finally got to meet in person, so that was awesome. But glad to be back on the show.
No, that was great. I sat actually right behind Tyler and Joey. I had to kind of move over a little bit. I was behind Joey Blackwell, but I had to move over a couple of seats so that I could see the stage. Joey's a big boy. I mean, you could show like a movie on Joey's back. I'm a big guy, but Joey's a really big guy, and it was like a total eclipse of the Tyler, because Tyler was next to Joey on the other side. I could barely see him. Your boy's he's a big one there. That's a left tackle right there for you.
He's a unit. He is most certainly a unit.
He you know what though? You both do a great job. He knows his stuff. You know your stuff, and it's great to see. You know who I didn't see was Chris Walsh. Walsh, was he there or not? I never saw him. I was there for a whole 4 days, and I never saw Chris Walsh.
No, it was just me and Joey up there. The credentials were kind of weird because some organizations just got Alabama. We were able to get four for each day, or one for all the days. And so it was just me and Joey. But Chris was at home covering it, doing some live updates for us. But we definitely missed seeing our editor there as well.
It was different. It didn't suck having a little smaller crowd. I got to be honest with you. It sounds terrible to say that. It sounds very pompous. We had gotten 5 credentials for all 4 days, but we didn't bring our 5th guy because we needed to have somebody back at a radio station. Chad needed to stay behind it, run the shows. So we did that. But we were there the whole time. But I got to be honest with you, having it thinned out on Radio Row and having it thinned out upstairs, I thought was kind of good, and it made doing the work a little bit easier.
No, I had been to previous SC Media Days, and this one was obviously trimmed down a good bit. And I mean, hey, we can sit here and say what things we didn't like about it, which there were certain aspects that I didn't. I wish it could have been, full 100% capacity, no doubt about that. And I miss seeing the fans in the lobby. I miss seeing the guy who comes every year, got the big old national championship ring on his head, the guy wearing the Tide laundry detergent. I miss that. I miss that aspect. Now, there were some fans outside. As Saban and company kind of rolled in the Winfrey. That was cool. But I did like the aspect of having each guy in the main room go up there, take the questions, so you don't miss out on anything and you don't get in any media scrum. I like that portion. But, man, was it good to see people in person again and to see players in person again in the media platform, because, I've been so sick and tired of the Zoom. I'm just glad we're back in person, Tom.
They could have brought 3. I don't know why they did 2. They did 3 at some other meetings. I mean, come on. They brought 2 instead of 3 and so on. But and in any event, it looks like for Alabama, I think Nick Saban said they were around 90%. He kind of dropped that stuff in there. You just know when you're sitting there, and I was up there for most of the coaches. You were up there for all of the coaches probably. But you just could tell the difference. I mean, I hate to say it, but you see guys are trying to emulate him. There's no doubt. We all did it in coaching over the years. You try to emulate the greats. But when he is up there, you could just see that it's different. The things he says, how he says it, the way that he talks about, personal choice for the players, but they realize what the impact would be on the team. I think we're around 90%. Everything is measured, and you could just see that you're in the I wonder if people really realize, what we're looking at, because I know in my lifetime, maybe in your lifetime, I don't know, but in my lifetime, I'll never see anything like this again. This is the greatest college football coach in the history of college football, period, end of story, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and I caught myself, even at the SC Media Days, because Tom, obviously when Alabama comes through, it's a whole ordeal, right? I mean, that's what everybody wants to be. I mean, I was in the electronics room. I remember I was in there for Kiffin. I asked him a couple things, and there was only about 10 people in there, right? Not many at all. And then the next day when Saban was in there, the first thing in the morning, there was about 30, 35 people in the electronics room, which was next to the main room. And that just tells you the difference, man. I mean, we know how charismatic and enigmatic Lane Kiffin is, but when Nick Saban comes, it's just different, man. He has a different aurora about himself. And it's not something where it's like, yes, he has the platform because he's done it, because he's won 7 national championships. He's been there and done it. And so people want to listen to what he has to say. And you look around the league, right? I think the reason we kind of think, okay, he sounds like Saban, is a lot of them are Saban disciples. Now, I know some of them have left the conference over the last few years, but there's still a good bit there, right? Jimbo Fisher comes to mind first. But, yeah, and Kirby Smart, obviously, as well. So that's where I kind of think we get that. And, and also I haven't really seen a media days so far where it's like as hot button issues as the COVID vaccine, right? NIL, things like that. I know there's been some in the past, but this one in recent memory was really big. And the way Saban kind of, just brought it out there, it's like, hey, you know what? It is a personal choice, but there's things that happen if you don't do things that benefit the team, right? There's certain consequences. And then when other coaches came up there and said, that they were well below the threshold, the 80-85% threshold that Greg Sankey and the SEC wants these teams to get to, you just kind of think, okay, you're not really stepping out and being a leader and sticking yourself out there and doing that. And I thought Nick Saban, the way he's handled, like every issue in college football, and like NIL, even now he's kind of ahead of the curve. David Shaw had some comments about that, but it all proves that Nick Saban's ahead of the curve, and for the foreseeable future, it's going to continue to stay that way.
Yeah, it's no doubt about it. And I was very interested in the comments of David Shaw out there at Stanford talking about Saban dropping Bryce Young's NIL deal out there, and he said, quote, that it was a great way to recruit. This is that gray area that we're getting close to, because I know that the law in Alabama that they passed is very specific about the impact on recruiting. You're not allowed to use the NIL as a recruiting tool. And, of course, Saban is smart like a fox, but so is David Shaw. He's a very, very bright guy out there at Stanford, and I'd love to see him come east and see what kind of damage he could do at some particular point in time. But, he said, Shaw said that he said, I don't believe that is his true market value. He says, I think that is Alabama's value, and that it was a great way to recruit when Nick Saban dropped it out there. And Saban said to the coaches, that his NIL deal for a quarterback that hadn't started a game yet was because of our brand. Well, when you say because of our brand, that's not, as Shaw said, this isn't just a throw-in. You're telling every recruit in the country, our brand gets you paid when you come here.
No doubt about it, Tom. And the University of Alabama, their graphics team, their recruiting team needs to maybe be sending some cut of the royalties to that one-liner. That's Alabama value to Coach David Shaw and his team. I mean, you want to talk about the NIL being recruiting? The statement right there, that's Alabama value. That's recruiting in and of itself. Excuse me. And two, I think what a lot of people, kind of misread about Saban's Bryce Young comments. Okay, one, he said that at the Texas High School Coach Association annual banquet, right? And Texas is one of the three schools that high school players cannot make money off their name, image, and likeness yet. So he's saying, okay, our quarterback, who hasn't even started a game, is already making ungodly numbers, 7. That was the comment. And it's like, okay, if the coaches hear that, it's like, okay, they can position their players, right? And I think more so it avoids where we're kind of getting into a gray area or this is recruiting, is that it is kind of sort of, but the reality is, though, it's not so blatant as, okay, you get here, we'll set up deals for you as that, because that's not the matter. It's just that's not what it is. And for Shaw to kind of come out and say, well, this isn't what we want college athletics to be about, the reality is that, when he got to Stanford and he had Andrew Luck, he had Christian McCaffrey, he's had some great players come through there. There's no doubt about that. He makes over $4 million a year. But you know what else has value? Stanford University has value, one of the most prestigious universities in the country, and very, 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 very hard to get into. And so I think other coaches, where they need to find the win, or where they need to find the value, and where they can find their own Alabama value, is winning on the field and producing and having players being developed. So more so than anything about Nick Saban flaunting that his quarterback who hasn't even started a game is making that kind of money. It's just a ploy, for other coaches to kind of point at him, because I know Coach O said on Wednesday, he was speaking at the Baton Rouge Rotary Club, and he said, we've got coaches bragging about it. And that was kind of a subtle shot at Nick Saban. But the reality of the matter is that everybody knows what Alabama brings to the table. It's the Alabama brand that you're partnering up with if you're a player, and you're saying, I want my name attached to that. Right, and I think it's totally okay for him to say that, and I just think it kind of avoids that a little bit, because it's not so much as, okay, you come here, we're going to pay you.
Tyler Martin with us, BamaCentral.com. I'm going to disagree a little bit with you on that one. I think that at some point in time, if we get the national legislation that we need to have, or maybe even at the SEC level, maybe Greg Sankey will adjust it at some point in time, I think it should be that coaches are not allowed to talk about it. I think that's what a coach. You know how a coach is not allowed to talk about a recruit now that commits before they sign. I think that's how it should be with NIL. I think it should be that a coach is not allowed to discuss NIL business from his team. His players' deal.
Okay.
That's up to them. Now, if the player wants to say it, that's up to the player to say that. But even in that case, because people are going to know that about these deals, they'll be reported that they got these deals. So let the media carry the water when they say, "Oh, look, Bryce Young just got this deal or that deal." But I think coaches are going to be should be forbidden from saying it because it is subtle, and Ed Orgeron is right. Get coaches bragging about it, and then it becomes a recruiting thing, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen.
Yeah, no, you make a great point, Tom, and that was another thing at SC Media Days. The kind of consensus is that we are still moving in these uncharted waters. We still don't know how to operate, and it goes back to what Saban said. When he was asked about the Bryce Young deal, he said, everything that I've said now, we can kind of scratch that about it because there's no precedent for this. So, you were there. Coach Saban said, everything I say is now wrong, right? Because there is no precedent for this. And so we're kind of moving in uncharted territories. I definitely agree with you on the fact that we need something from Congress. We need something from our federal level to kind of level the playing field. And just someone who looks at this from a neutral perspective, it's like, okay, all these rules right now, and I wrote about this at length on Alabama Central even this week, transfer portal, NIL, all these rules, all they do is help the blue blood programs of college football, right? The conference realignment as well. That's all that's going to do is just boost the programs that are already there, right? And so I do agree. We do need federal legislation because it's going to become a mess. I've talked to a lot of diehard Alabama fans about this, and there's a lot of them, and Tom, maybe a lot of them are your audience. They're worried about how this NIL is going to affect their college athletics. And could it stain the purity of the sport?
Yeah, that's a great point. And Tyler Martin with us from Bama Central. You mentioned that Texas is one of the 3 states that doesn't allow high school athletes to make money off of their name, image, and likeness. I mean, this becomes now this is just getting nuts. I know that Alabama is in that group. What's the third one? Do you know?
So it's so I think Ohio is the third state. For high school players.
All right, for high school players, which is really surprising. I didn't know it was allowed in the other 47 states until I saw that same story, the Quinn Ewers story. It was disturbing. I mean, I predicted this a few years ago. I thought that this would start happening with kids back in their senior year that had committed just because they didn't want to take a chance of getting hurt and they were going to get prepped for, playing their college career and everything else. Now there's money involved in it. And when you get the top recruit in the country saying, yeah, I'm going to take a pass. I'll go up there. I can graduate here. I got one class to graduate. I'm going to go up there to Columbus and start getting ready to be a college player, and I'll go ahead and make money on my NIL. This is getting a little bit dicey, and I don't know what's going to stop it because eventually there's only 3 states left. Those states are going to have to fall in line probably. I could see the federal government saying, hey, you can't stop it. So now you've got kids. You're going to have it's going to trickle all the way down in basketball. It'll trickle down to 8th and 9th graders. They'll be getting money.
Yeah.
It's out of control.
I'm so glad you brought this up, Tom. This is something me and my buddy John Garcia Jr. just talked about on our podcast on Bama Central, is that I think at first this is only going to happen with the elite of the elite athletes, right? I mean, you look at Quinn Ewers, a guy, South Lake Carroll, they just won a state championship, and people will say, well, what does he have to prove? He's going to be an early enrollee in January anywhere, so he's just going to miss, 4 or 5 months of high school. Let me tell you something right now. When you make a move like that, and I'm not bashing the kid. I know he has a lot on the table, and I know he can provide for his family even now, even as he's an 18-year-old, a senior, potentially already making money. But the reality is that you're missing a season of your development. You're missing a season of of tape you can put out there and how you can get better. And it also shows that at the end of the day, this name, image, likeness, where it's become the biggest distraction is that it's a me. It's all about me mentality rather than a we mentality, right? And I made this comment a couple days ago is that, for Alabama players, and I know when Coach Saban talks to recruits, it's all about being in the present. Not really focusing so much on the long-term focus on the future, but it's about being where you're at right now and bloom where you're planted, that kind of mentality. And if there was ever a player who had his junior year, and he's a big-time recruit, and then he just fails to play during his senior season, there's more likely a chance he doesn't suit up for the Crimson Tide. Because that's more of a reflection of your character and more of a reflection of your mentality. It's all about me, and that's kind of the way we're going with this NIL thing, because it is about your brand, and that does kind of suck to some degree. But one comment I saw a couple days ago about Bryce Young was that he is making reportedly $800K. That was from ESPN. But Javion Cohen, who's projected to be the starting left guard this year, he quote tweeted that and was like, "Man, Bryce comes every day to practice and still works his tail off." That's the kind of mentality that people need to have about this. No matter what you can make off the field, that's off the field, right? Guys might get jealous in the locker room. It might cause a distraction. But these elite recruits, they've got to be the ones to really step up and not allow that to distract them or distract their teams. But, yeah, I think you're exactly right, Tom. I think we're going to see this trickle down because at the end of the day, if you're a sophomore or junior opting out of your senior year or opting out of your junior year, heck, it's like, what does that say about you? And then you haven't proven anything yet. You haven't even stepped on a college campus yet, and you think you're worth $1 million.
Well, I am nervous about this because we're talking about 18 and 19 and 20-year-old kids. I am nervous that somebody is going to get some of this NIL type deals at their colleges, and then maybe they don't put forward that effort. Maybe we don't see, that because, they're getting paid because they have 100,000 followers. They're not getting paid necessarily because what they did on the field. And now all of a sudden, we got guys that came in as big-time recruits, David Cornwell and Blake Barnett and guys like that were supposed to be stud quarterback. They turned out to be garbage. Not people, but as players. But they could have walked out of there with seven figures because they had huge followings on Twitter. I mean, it's there's going to be kids that are going to jake it after they get paid, and they're not going to care. They think $1 million is like $100 million.
Yeah, and it goes to this too. Who was one of the first players at midnight on July 1st to really talk about the NIL and promote a deal? And I'm just using him as an example here, but it was Bo Nix at Auburn. He's got he's got almost 100,000 followers on Instagram, and he promotes a Milo's deal. Well, I know Bo Nix right now. He was just picked in the media to be the third team All SEC. But if he's third team All SEC, that tells me the SEC right now is unproven a lot at the quarterback position right now.
Right.
Because we know how inconsistent he has been over the last two seasons, and he's had some great moments. But we need to see a lot more from him, and maybe we will under Coach Harsin. But he's just one of the examples where it's not so much about your play, but what can you do for those companies off the field? How can you promote them to those followers? And he's just the first guy that came to mind.
Yeah. Finally, your thoughts on SEC expansion vis-a-vis playoff expansion, because I think everything is not necessarily off the table, but they definitely got to pump the brakes here, because I don't think this whole model that was put together, this 12-team model, was necessarily based on a 16-team conference. And if they say this is going to go into play in 23 or 24, by the time that happens, there's going to be 4 16-team conferences. And I don't think that's the way they had it designed. So do you think that playoff expansion may have to kind of take a little bit of a back burner until we see this next wave of conference expansion?
Potentially, maybe not at the first, because I know Texas and Oklahoma are going to fight tooth and nail to get in the conference sooner. The SEC will fight that, of course. They'll fight not fight ESPN, but they'll fight their TV with Fox. They'll fight the Big 12 Conference to get them in sooner.
ESPN owes Texas $160 million, right? That's the dirty little secret. If they're going to, ESPN owes Texas $160 million for a network that's going away. They're liable to just pay the tab, for those two teams to leave.
Exactly. They should pay the buyout for both schools, and let's get them in here in 2022, right, or 2023. Yeah. The sooner the better. And I think, Tom, the most ideal situation in college football is, by the way, I love the conference realignment. I love that Oklahoma and Texas are joining this league. A part of me, when it first happened, I kind of wish that they would let Texas starve, just because how they acted when A&M left the Big 12 and how Texas is in general. But I've come around. But I think what we're going to see is we're going to see 4 conferences of 16 teams or more, because what's going to happen is I think either the Big 12 is going to dissolve, or whenever if they do pay the buyout, the money that the Big 12 gets, they need to start recruiting some American athletic schools like Houston, SMU, Tulsa, Cincinnati. They need to start maybe branching out and getting some more teams to join them and try to just hold this thing together. If not, the Pac-12 is going to poach some schools, and the Big Ten could as well. My issue with the Big Ten is I don't think academically there's some standards that that the other schools will have to meet to be able to fit in. Because they have to. It's something about the accreditation. You have to have a certain accreditation to be a Big Ten school.
You got to be AAU. You got to be an AAU school, and the two that are Kansas and Iowa State. They are members of the AAU. Like for example, Kansas State is not. So I know that Kansas and Iowa State would pass muster in terms of the Big Ten's requirement as far as being a member of the AAU. That could happen.
And Kansas basketball would be huge for the Big Ten. But I think we're going to see the ACC. They're going to try to maybe even get some teams. The Pac-12, American or Big 12, whatever formation you want to see that in the SEC. And then maybe some high-powered group of five teams like UCF or Boise State or, heck, even UAB. They're on the rise right now, could join one of these leagues as well and really get going there with the big mega conferences. And then you look at the 12-team playoff, which I think 12 with a four mega conferences, 12 is perfect because you can say, okay, the four champions of each conference get the automatic bye, right, in the first round, and then you'll just go the rankings from there on out. So I think they're going to have to adjust it a little bit. And also, too, I want to see, until the semifinals, I want to see on-campus games. That's what I think can bring some of this energy and joy back to college football in the postseason.
Good point. I got a little bit different thought on that, but I understand what you're saying as well. Tyler Martin has been our guest. Tyler, I appreciate you so much. Keep up the great work there at Bama Central, and it is on now, my friend. I mean, it just feels that way. We get post-SEC Media Days. We know that the season now is just around the corner, just a little bit over a month.
Yeah, just, 36 days, I believe, kickoff from Alabama and Miami and Atlanta. Can't wait to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun, man.
All right. Appreciate you. Thank you.
See you, Tom.
We are on location. Bubby's Diner is where we're at. We're going to be here until lunchtime. I'm actually going to be there a little bit later than that because we're going to have lunch a little bit later on as well. But come on by. The phrase that pays. We'll get you a $25 gift certificate here at Bubby's as well. Back with more after this. We're going to open lines the rest of the way. 256-576-4977 on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's Action Update. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
Braves at home against the Brewers this weekend. Atlanta underdogs at home in Game 1, plus 112 on the money line. The Brewers minus 122, the over-under 8.5. Odds updated Thursday for the MVP of the Major League Baseball season in 2021. Shohei Ohtani, the odds-on favorite at minus 350. Vladimir Guerrero at plus 250. Then a large drop-off to Xander Bogaerts at plus 2,800. Aaron Judge and Jose Ramirez at plus 4,000. UFC Fight Night tomorrow on the main card. The middleweight bout between Uriah Hall and Sean Strickland. Strickland the favorite, minus 215. Hall at plus 170. Also on the main card, the bantamweight fight between Kyung Ho Kang at minus 135 and Ronnie Yaya at plus 115.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Every time Taco Bell's nacho fries returned, those Mexican spices were drawing something closer to the surface.
And once they taste that warm nacho cheese sauce, they won't stop till there's nothing left.
Can the Fry Force save the world and the nacho fries we love?
So either we fight together, or we fry alone.
Or will the monsters devour us all? Get your nacho fries today while you can. Now serving at a Taco Bell near you. At participating U.S. locations for a limited time only.
Hey friends, Eli Gold here for Environmental Comfort Systems. If you're concerned about the air quality inside your home, give my friend Rick Smith a call at Environmental Comfort Systems. Their indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of indoor air contaminants. Give the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and see how comfortable you can be. Breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your insulation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
From the WZDX Spin Point Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Get ready for another incredibly hot afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. A heat advisory will be in effect from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. Temperatures easily climbing into the mid and upper 90s, pushing the triple digits. Heat indices will be anywhere between 107 and 110 degrees. The only opportunity for relief is the chance for an isolated shower through the later part of Friday afternoon, early into Friday evening. Don't get too excited about that. At the end of the day, most of us are going to stay dry. Temperatures only dropping into the lower 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Segment of the show brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford. At Woody Anderson Ford, now is the time to get your service done. In fact, I've got to get the Woody Anderson Ford STX F-150 in myself to get it serviced down there. They do a great job. They're tremendous. All the people there are just so courteous. They have great respect for your vehicle and great respect for their place as well. And you can just tell the way they take care of the joint, Woody Anderson Ford, for all your auto needs. We are at Bubby's here. Burgers, fries, malts, breakfast, and more. It's the home of the Donut Burger. They're open to, I think, 8 o'clock each night, and a little bit later, maybe on a weekend, Grizz. Does that make sense? I think on Saturday or Friday and Saturday night, they might be open a little bit later as well. They serve breakfast every day until 11 o'clock, and we are into the lunchtime. Now, Jimbo is here, and he knocked down the Bubby, which is the grilled glazed donut with beef, bacon, and cheese. That is one of the staples here at Bubby's. I can't wait for lunch when the show is over. I am going to have Kimmy's Bacon Jam Cheeseburger, which is soon to be renamed the Thom Abraham Bacon Gravy Cheeseburger. We're going to go that route with it. So I'm excited about that. When Bubby came over and he told me that's what we were going to do with the thing. So that's really cool. And the place is filling up for lunch right now. I mean, right now, it is filling up as we are into the lunchtime. I have to stop and swallow because I look at the menu and my mouth waters, Grizz. I mean, it really does.
No, I like the Charlie's Pimento Cheeseburger. That is my favorite. Anytime you can put any kind of mac and cheese or cheese, more cheese on a burger, I'm all on board. And no, it's good. I love their fries too. I'm all about a place with good fries. Like that.
The fries are key.
It's something
The
about a
fries
restaurant and good
roll.
fries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lasts. You last if you have good fries in this town.
The fries
oh my
are
goodness.
important. They can't be limp and soft. They got to be good fries. There, yeah. Charlie's is the house-made pimento cheese with lettuce and tomato.
Yes.
By the way, Grizz, feel free to jet down here for lunch if you want. We'll be here probably till pretty near 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
If you want, feel free to jet on down here and have some lunch with us. We may be eating by the time you get here, but that's okay.
That's fine. I'll probably pick something to go and take it back.
You're kind of part of the family.
Kind of part of the family, but still,
know what I mean? You're a little bit part of the family. You're beginning to be a little.
We're
bit
all
part
family
of the
here.
Yeah. So we still have some gift certificates.
Right.
So if you come on by and see the Junkyard Babe, you got to say the phrase that pays, and we'll get you taken care of. For those of you that are just jumping on board, or maybe just getting in your rig and heading for lunch, and you're wondering, well, what is the phrase that pays, dog?
How you doing?
That's the phrase that pays. That phrase will get you.
How you doing?
That will get you paid. All right, that'll get you taken care of. All right, let's get to the lines. Phone lines are open. If you want to jump in, you can do it. 256-576-4977. Johnny is on a cell phone. Johnny, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great. I think lots of the media people had their head in the sand when it came to the NIL, especially some radio personalities in North Alabama. Drew and Wes and all those guys. I told them, I said, look, when the NIL hit and it's free market and you can't cap it, these kids at Bama and these kids at these blue blood places are going to make money, and they're going to make a lot of money. And they were like, no, they, 20 Dan, what millionaire is going to pay them? Well, what they didn't plan on, and what got overlooked is that these guys these schools that are ahead of the curve, like Bama, they've already had these things in place so that their kids can get to these agencies and get their money and get their kids paid. And the blue bloods that thought ahead. I'm sorry Stanford was caught in the dark, but there are guys that were ready when this hit, and their kids are benefiting from it.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and it's the masses that are paying it, because basically what's happening is when you start paying a kid like Mikey Williams. What about that kid? This is a high school basketball player that's got some, 500,000 social media followers, something like that. He signed a deal with XL Sports, which is it's going to be literally millions, and he's in high school still. Literally millions.
They were originally projecting as soon as he hit that this LSU gymnast would make $1 million a year, and I'm like, yeah, exactly. And that's where I felt
the girl that just won, that's going to the Olympian that just won the all around.
Yeah, that's going to be at Auburn, exactly. But
Auburn,
that's what I'm saying. The talking heads missed it, and I'm like, and I said because I guess, and it's still going to happen. The rich are going to get richer. You cannot legislate a level playing field. That gets into antitrust issues.
Right.
So there will never be a level playing field. As much as the dude from Bama Central wants to see it, it's not going to happen. The rich are going to get richer because they're going to be able to use and leverage their position to make it easier for their kids to make money.
Well, you take a place like Miami, where you had a booster put $500,000 into a pot and invited other businesses to put money in that pot now, and he put every single kid on the payroll for $500 a month. But don't you think De'Ara King, he's got his own deals going on because he's the quarterback and he has a bigger following and so on. So now all of a sudden he starts getting more money. How about this for an unintended consequence? Think about this possibility. They say that Tua Tagovailoa would have been worth $4 to $5 million in NIL money.
He'd have taken a pay cut to go to the NFL.
Bingo. What I'm saying is, can you believe this, Johnny? What about this possibility? What about some kids, a mega star, like Trevor Lawrence? What kind of money would that kid have gotten from a hair care company or something like that? What if some of these kids decide to stay in college now for their senior year and not go out to the NFL because the deal in the NFL is down there? It's going to happen anyway. But some of their rookie deals might not even be as much as what they could make in NIL. It might keep kids in school.
Well, like I said, Big Dog, the SEC is ahead of every conference because they jumped in and got Texas and Oklahoma. the other conferences are now going to be scrambled to get their butts to 16 teams. The playoffs going to come at 12. There are going to be the 4 automatic conference bid champions. There's going to be 8 play-in games, and then the semifinals will take place like they have been. And it's going to happen, and and the rich are going to get richer. Alabama is already ahead of the curve. You know, David Shaw and the rest of the guys can complain, but Nick Saban, he knows what he's doing. It's that man is if he's playing, everybody else is playing checkers in the world in which he's playing chess.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I hear what you're saying, Johnny. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. I have a little bit of a different take on what the playoffs should look like with 4 16-team super conferences. If we get to 4 16-team super conferences, and you have conference championships whereby you have to first win an 8-team division. Grizz, when you were just a little boy, these divisions were all 18. These conferences were all 18 conferences. It was the Pac-8. It was the Big 8. It was the SEC with 8 teams. The ACC, 8. They had 8. So the first thing you would do is win an 8-team division in a super conference to go to a conference championship game.
Yeah.
Right. So that would be almost tantamount to a playoff game. What I would do now is if we have 64 teams, all right, fully half of Division, all of the Power 5 schools and fully half of Division I football, because we know all the rest of those schools, they're whistling past the graveyard. Forget about it. If we had 4 champions that played in conference championship games, that they had to win an 8-team division to get into that conference championship game, I think you then take the highest-ranked team out of a power conference, that's team number 5, and I think you take 3 at-large teams. 3 at-large teams. These are teams that maybe a team went 12-0 in the regular season and got upset in the conference championship game, but you go ahead and you put them in a playoff. Then you take those 4 games and put them on campus. And then you have 18. To me, I think it should be an 18 playoff, because an 18 playoff with 16-team super conferences playing a conference championship game, isn't that conference championship game kind of a playoff game? Because now the loser isn't necessarily automatically out, but the winner is automatically in. And with these big 8-team divisions, you're not going to. It's very, very unlikely you're not going to get a 3-loss team to win a division. And with 8 teams in a division, you're probably going to have to be, 8-1 in your conference to get into the conference championship game. Anyway, I would go to 8. I don't like 12. I don't like 12 if 64 teams are in 4 conferences. Well, I would go to 8.
Here's what I see in that. If we've got 4, 16-team conferences, right? So the 4 conference winners would go. Don't you think the 4 number 2s would go? So, like, the top 8 would be basically all in the same it would be 2 from the same conference? You see what I'm saying? And then you would have 4 more that are, top 25 or worth it.
All 8 would be from the same 4 conferences.
Yeah. It'd be the 1 and 2. It'd be like the 1 and 2. Yeah, the runner-up would get to go.
Not necessarily. I'll give you a scenario. Let's say it's a 9-team schedule, because they're going to have to go to 9 games, right? So it's a 9-game schedule, let's say. So if it's a 9-game schedule, let's say that Alabama goes 8 or 9-0, and they win the East, right? They go 9-0 and they win the East, okay? And then let's say that LSU goes 9-0 and wins the West, and Oklahoma goes 8-1.
Yeah.
Alabama's playing LSU in the SEC championship game, but Oklahoma is 8-1 at home. I think all 3 teams are going to be in the playoff.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could happen that way. So I think that you could see multiple teams beyond 2, from each conference getting in. But you could also see a scenario where, let's say Alabama goes 9-0, and the only team they beat, or the only team that Georgia lost to, was Alabama. So Alabama is 9-0.
Yeah.
Georgia is 8-1. Oklahoma wins the West. Oklahoma went 7-2 and wins the West.
Yeah.
Okay. Alabama beats Oklahoma in the SEC championship game, and then Alabama and Georgia go to the playoff.
Right.
You follow me?
Yeah.
So I think that those wild cards, I think 3 wild cards are enough wild cards, but I think you take one from the what is left of the group of 5. And earlier, Tyler Martin said about the Big 12 trying to raid the American. I'll tell you what. I tell you the way I see it going. I think the American's going to raid what's left of the crumbling 12.
Yeah.
The Americans already got good teams.
Bigger, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they could. What do they got? I think they got 12 playing football right now, and then they maybe have 13 or 14 with basketball. I think that if they reach out to possibly Texas, Baylor, they already have Houston, right? Why not take Baylor and TCU and Texas Tech and have 4 teams in the state of Texas in the American? You know what I mean? Or 5, right? Don't they have SMU in the American? So they would have,
I believe so, yeah.
Right. So they would, they would literally have a team in Houston, a team in Dallas. They would have 2 teams in Dallas with TCU. They could have Texas Tech, and they could have Baylor. You know what I mean? All in the American. I think the American's going to read them.
I like that a little better than the Pac-12 trying to pick at whatever Texas teams they can get or at whatever, because it's nowhere near the West Coast, and I just don't like any of those Big 12 teams getting over there in the Pac-12. I'm not a big fan of that.
But it's not that far. You know what? It's not that far from Colorado. It's not that far from Utah, and it's not that far from Arizona and Arizona State.
I got you.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If I'm the Pac-12, I am talking to Baylor, I'm talking to TCU, I'm talking to Texas Tech, and I'm talking to Oklahoma State, and then I'm going to put those 4 teams in a division which would be the Pac-12. It would be the Pac-16 East. The Pac-16 East would be Baylor, Texas Tech, TCU, Oklahoma State, Arizona, Utah, and Colorado. And then the Pac-16 West would be, Oregon State, USC, UCLA,
right.
Stanford, all of those, Washington State, Stanford, and Cal. You see, so the coastal teams would be the Pac-16 West, and the Pac-16 East would be the teams from Arizona, Utah,
and
I can
Texas,
see
that.
Oklahoma
yeah.
State. So
I like that.
Work.
I like that just to improve. I mean, and that's the thing about it all over the board. Even though we're talking about how much that a lot of these teams are going to benefit from the football program, I mean, the SEC alone is just going to benefit greatly from just both Oklahoma and Texas. I mean, we talked about it. Texas with, baseball, basketball, Oklahoma with softball, Oklahoma with apparently wrestling now. So but Oklahoma with, just so many other different things that that's just gonna build the conference even more. It's just gonna make it even better.
I love what Steve Spurrier had to say at his press conference, which is announcing the Steve Spurrier Award for the best rookie coach in all of college football. But he had this to say about Texas and Oklahoma coming over. Wait a minute. I keep forgetting to turn my there.
Texas, I can understand Texas jumping over. They get to play Texas A&M again. They can't win the Big 12 anyway. I think they've only won 2 in the last 30 years or so. What is it? Do you know the stats on that?
I don't off the top of my head now.
I can see Texas jumping over, more money, play to A&M, this, that, and the other. But I'm sort of surprised Oklahoma. They are the champion of the Big 12. I mean, they win it almost every year. They won, 4 or 5 in a row, something like that. And I just don't think they're going to come over to the SEC and win with any regularity the way they win the Big 12. So their fans, they may say, yeah, now we can beat Alabama and LSU and all these dudes. It may not happen like that. So I don't know, but it's obviously more money. I feel sad for the other schools, Kansas State, Kansas, Iowa State, and all those guys, because they obviously need those 2 schools there. But it looks like it's going to happen, so maybe it'll work out for the best.
Spurrier is just the king of shade. You know what I mean? It's like Texas, what did they won, 2? They've won 2 conference championships in the last 30 years. They don't win anything anyway. They get more money, but they don't win anything. I love Spurrier, man. I wish Spurrier would replace Corso now on the game day. Spurrier would be fantastic on game day.
I think it would be really good, to be honest with you. I think it's time to let Corso kind of live out, and let him just be on for special events, because you can tell a lot of times he's not there.
He's hurt,
and it just hurts the program. And I get that. I get that, and it just really hurts to just to kind of put him out there, and and watch him struggle. Because the thing is like you got to have him in there. But yeah, that would be a great addition or a replacement.
All right, let's get a break. We'll come back with a final segment from Bubby's here. It's packed for lunch, man. You know why it's packed for lunch? I'll tell you why. Because it's great. Okay, Bubby's here on Whitesburg Drive is where you want to be, and look, you still got a couple of minutes to get in and say the phrase that pays and get yourself hooked up with some chow here from Bubby's. But in the meantime, get to deals. Those are moving fast right now. We've got them there for you, and you're going to want to get to deals and snag $50 worth of Bubby's gift certificates in $10 increments and get yourself some chow down here at Bubby's. We'll be back and wrap it up next right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Braves baseball is celebrating 150 years, and this 2021 team is looking to kick down the door and make this season one for the history books.
Swing and a fly ball hit deep toward their bullpen. Are you kidding me? Another pinch hit homer.
Your new home of the Atlanta Braves.
Hit high in the air to deep right center field. We are tied!
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Sitting here with Ann Adams of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Rise Real Estate. Is it a good time to sell your home, Ann?
Yes, it is. We have people relocating from all over the country.
Why should we choose Rise Real Estate?
Well, we've been selling real estate in North Alabama for 36 years and have sold more real estate than any other real estate company, period.
Do you help your customers through the entire process?
Yes, our agents are with you during the whole process from start to finish, from beginning to end.
In your relocation services, you have a whole team.
Yes, we have a dedicated relocation department helping customers move seamlessly into the area.
Ann Adams has been writing contracts for the last 36 years. She has the experience to help you list and sell your home, downsize your home, or help pick the perfect spot north of Alabama for you to build a future.
Call Ann Adams at 256-337-2625 or on the web at www.bhhsriserealestate.com. McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Jesus tells us to go the second mile. Well, sometimes it's hard enough to go the first mile. But when the Lord is number one in our lives, we not only go the first mile, but we embrace the second mile. We can talk all we want about Jesus and how important he is to us, but we show it in the second mile. In the second mile, the world has changed. In the second mile, the difference is made. In the second mile, the lost world sees Christ in us. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. And check us out at cpcfamily.org.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
And now, another out-of-context moment from the Thom Abraham Show that sounds dirty.
I was actually trained as a plumber, so I know my way around a pipe here and there.
Stay tuned for more from Thom on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back. Thom Abraham Show on location at Bubby's Diner, Whitesburg Drive. I have really enjoyed being here for brunch with the big dog. We had a big crowd at breakfast, and then now at lunch, a big crowd here as well. We had many people come by and pick up certificates as well, and we pretty much wiped those out, and so we appreciate everybody to come on by and snag those. We do have some $10 certificates left, so if you want to come by in the next, well, I'll be here probably for another 45 minutes to an hour, so if you want to come by, and we'll hook you up with one of those as well, with the phrase that pays. Just come on by, drop a little how you doing on me, and we'll make sure that we get you taken care of. It is official now. The Southeastern Conference making an announcement 11 minutes ago. The Southeastern Conference today announcing that the University of Oklahoma and the University of Texas will become members effective July 1, 2025, with competition in all sports beginning in the 2025-2026 academic year. Now, that 2025 is mentioned several times throughout this press release. It says the addition of Oklahoma and Texas will bring the number of SEC members to 16 beginning July 1st, 2025. And then it goes on to talk about the ones that have been in the conference since the beginning. Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, LSU, Mississippi, Mississippi State, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt have been members since 1933. There's been 2 previous expansions, of course, Arkansas and South Carolina in 91, Missouri and Texas A&M in 2012. The release goes on to say that the presidents and chancellors of the Southeastern Conference are pleased to welcome the University of Oklahoma and the University of Texas. Both universities are prestigious academic institutions with strong athletic programs and similar in tradition, culture, and success to our current member universities. We look forward to a productive and successful future together beginning in 2025. So there you go. They mentioned it again. Greg Sankey says that this is an important moment for the long-term future of the SEC and our member universities. Oklahoma and Texas are outstanding academic institutions with 2 strong athletic programs, which will add to the SEC's national prominence. Their additions will further enhance the already rich academic, athletic, and cultural legacies that have been cultivated through the years by our existing 14 members. We look forward to the Sooners and Longhorns competing in our conference starting 2025 academic year. Notably, the University of Texas is the 5th institution in the SEC to hold the prestigious Association of American Universities. That's the AAU I was talking about earlier, designation. Florida, Missouri, Texas A&M, and Vanderbilt are AAU schools as well. Now, all of the schools in the Big Ten are AAU, and that's kind of a requirement to join the Big Ten. So that's why people have been focused on Kansas and Iowa State, because those are the 2 teams that are left in the little crumbling 12 that have AAU designation. I still do not think there's any way in hell that this doesn't happen before 2025. Now the next step will be getting this done before 2025. This is not going. They are not going to play in the crumbling 12 for 4 more years. They asked for an invitation. They got an invitation. They accepted the invitation. Texas and Oklahoma are SEC schools. That's going to do it for the show today. Thanks to the crew here at Bubby's. They are tremendous folks here. Remember, you can still get it online at Zone Deals. Take advantage of that as well. Grizz mixed the show. The JYB taking care of the folks here as well. I'm Thom Abraham. Coming up next is Chuck Oliver. This is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Listen to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton.
David is on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline.
Good blue cheese with hot wings is better than any ranch, and I'll fight anybody that disagrees with me.
I would agree with you. I haven't even seen how big you are.
Well, Wes, I'm not as big as you, but I'm big enough.
Listen to The Drive, weekdays starting at 5 p.m. on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Right now, it's on to the semifinals of the Olympics for the U.S. women's national soccer team. Following their penalty shootout win against the Netherlands today, Team USA goes up against Canada next. No golden Grand Slam for Novak Djokovic following his loss in the semis in Tokyo today to Alexander Zverev. Djokovic was denied his bid to win all 4 Grand Slam tennis tournaments and Olympic gold in the same year. He needed the Olympics and U.S. Open titles to complete the collection. He will play for the bronze medal. ESPN's Field Yates with some numbers regarding quarterback Aaron Rodgers' reworked deal with the Packers. The reigning NFL MVP's salary cap charge for this season dropped by $10 million to $27 million. His cap charge, though, for 2022, should he still be on Green Bay's roster, he'd currently count as $46 million against the team's salary cap.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty and